So, keeping up with the enemy manager, full barriers. This is just the barriers that we have over here. Barriers serve in this project kind of like a protection between the enemies and the players. They can be damaged um, by the player and the enemy, and you're gonna see how this works in game. For example, if I shoot it, you can see that the player is destroying the bullets, and if your player can use it, and you see the enemy bullets can also destroy it. So, um, enemy manager keeps tracks. Where's the enemy manager? Here it is. Enemy manager keeps tracks of this full barracks because every time the scene changes, uh, everything uh, within this race over here are gonna be regenerated in each scene. So it's important that you put your barriers over here. So every time the scene changes, you're gonna have the barriers regenerated. And over here, this is what makes the enemies alive. This everything the script is gonna count everything within this enemy row. So all the enemies that are child objects of this enemy row are gonna be read up here, and that's gonna make and figure out how many enemies are alive. So this is a very important. If you have like more enemies, let's say we enable this boss, we're gonna move it here. So by the way, you can erase all these bosses if you're not gonna use it. I just have it over here as a template. But let's say we're gonna have this scene with this boss. So the enemy manager, you have to put one more enemy row, and you basically put the boss over here. Now you have to kill the boss and the enemies to complete this scene. All right, but we're not doing that over here. It was just making an example. So what else do we have in the enemy manager? Boss level. This means that when I complete this scene, the same scene, so 3 times, that means when the player kills all the enemies in the scene 3 times, he's gonna change scene to this one. All right. If you want the game to continue endlessly, to loop in the same scene, just put like a higher number, or you can modify the script just to look, instead of numbers, just like an infinite number over here. But right now it's set up that after you defeat this scene 3 times, it's gonna change to this other scene, which is right over here. So it's gonna change to this scene. Let me show you how it looks. This is like the first boss. So that's how it works. That's how you change scenes in this project. Now, when it changes to this scene, it will carry on all the data from the last scene, like the player lives, the score, and all of that data will go back to it's managed to this score manager over here. This one has how many lives you have and what score do you need to get like an extra life. Every time you kill an enemy, you get score point, you get points. So all this information is carrying the score manager. Notice that you don't have over here in the scene that you're changing, score manager is disabled. I can't even erase it because we're not gonna use it. The way the script works is that the score manager it's gonna be set up just in the first scene when you start the game. That score manager is gonna continue to be in every scene that you go on until you lose the game. So that's how we keep the score manager going, the score going through the game. Well, basically, I think that covers how the game works. If you can. If you see over here, after you defeat the boss, the enemy manager tells me that just after one scene, so after you defeat the boss over here, you're gonna be going to the Space Invaders A scene, which is this one. And this goes back to being like a normal scene, but with a different setup of enemies. These enemies over here in the corners behave differently, so you can keep the game like looking different, not the same through all the game. And this one has also three scenes. You can set it up however you want, working through the game. This is some um, how the basically how the game loops scene through scene. You can make as many as you want, and then at the last one it will loop to the first one. So the game, if you choose to, doesn't have an end. Then the game can loop endlessly. Just another thing I wanted to cover is the power-ups. So how do you get power-ups? There's a special enemy. This is the way I set it up, but you can set it up however you want. This is a special enemy over here. This is a spawner object that it will spawn this enemy right over here. This one has a special configuration. It doesn't shoot, but you can set it up. If you want it to shoot, you can set it up to shoot. This enemy will go from left to right in the scene. Let me put it in the scene so you can actually see it. Let's put it over here. But basically what this does is, I just set it up so you can see how it moves, but I'm going to show you how it behaves normally. So this is how it looks in game. You see this is gonna be when you shoot it. Oops, I miss it. And you can see also the different behaviors of this enemies over here. You see when I shoot it, it will shoot, in this case, extra life. So that's how the special enemy behaves when it's in the scene. But remember, this special enemy will normally be spawned from this object over here, the special enemy spawner. It will spawn this enemy every 45 seconds. You can set it up however you want. And I just put like an infinite number over here, so it will spawn like endlessly as long as the scene is still active. Let me mention something about the bosses. Normally, bosses behave like every little square of this is just an enemy prefab. It has the same invader script. The only difference is it has more health. It takes more hits to kill it, and basically that's it. And it doesn't have like the movement like the normal invaders where it moves left to right. You can choose to set it up to move like that if you want to, but right now it's set up in the scene to move with the waypoint, with the boss waypoint objects that I mentioned before, like this. If I set up this boss over here and I activate the positions, you can see that each position over here, the boss is going to move to each of these game objects in game before it loops back to the original position. That's all. It's basically going to be moving like in a circular, in a circular movement like this. Whoop, like this. It will move like that, but you can set it up however you want. So yeah, that's basically how this works. I hope you had a good time, and take care.